What up, y'all? This is Don Jamal, your main man on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, what have you. And I'm coming straight fresh from seeing the Superman movie. And let's see if I can kind of get the controversy out the way first, so that way we can kind of go into what I thought of the film. First off, you are going to see a lot of people who kind of critique this film to death. And with that being said, do I think it's going to be one of those films which may or may not get an Academy Award or such like that? It's kind of hard to say. That being said, I do think it is a Superman movie. I think you're going to have a lot of fun watching this. It really does feel like a James Gunn film. And that's one thing I will say about James Gunn, is that he takes something that we already know and kind of stretch it a little bit further out so that we have a lot more fun involved, if that makes sense. So, that being said, I would say this is one of those films that's actually a lot of fun. I would suggest at least watching it just once, just kind of getting into it. So, going into our guy who actually plays Superman, I thought he did an incredible job. Our guy, Mr. Nick Hoult, who actually plays Lex Luthor, really thorough job. I thought he did an incredible job being convincing and even menacing, and dare I say, a tiny bit terrifying, and dare I say, heartless Lex Luthor. Most Lex Luthors, it almost seems as if they're just villainous. This one, Nick Holt's version, was a lot more heartless. Like, you are going to be really surprised at his performance with that. So I would suggest that. That also being said, I mean, obviously I'm here in New Jersey. I don't necessarily have anybody to really hang out with. And just finding out that I have a movie theater that's like 5 minutes away from my apartment in Voorhees, New Jersey. But that also being said, I'm just thinking like anything that I kind of missed. I will say, and I'm trying to think of what people were honestly saying, because they're saying like, it just wasn't going to work, or it just seemed really lame. And for some reason, it seems like the alt-right just did not like this Superman. And I'm thinking to myself, Superman is the kind of guy who is really upright person, kind of does the right things. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, that's exactly who Superman always was. Superman was always the kind of person who was forthright, truth, justice, and the American way, at least some way, shape, and form. He was always that person. But the thing I thought was really fascinating about this Superman film was the idea of a man who wanted to do good and got penalized for doing good, because I felt like there was some sort of motive behind it, and how everybody kind of quickly turned on him. I thought that was an interesting take, but also it felt really good kind of watching that, but also seeing how despite everything he went through, everything comes back together, and he is still the exact same Superman that I remember. And for those who are really out there saying, Superman got his ass handed out to him, I recall, and I'm thinking of this ever since I was a little boy, and not only watching the old films from the 70s up to right now, from the cartoons, from the comics, he always had his ass handed to him. So that kind of conversation can definitely be thrown out the trash. He's always had his ass handed to him, but he always came out shining in the end. So my honest opinion, I say go and check it out just once. I just saw it in 3D. Yep, even with the glasses, on top of my glasses. It was a fun time. So that being said, if you guys like me to actually check out some more films, let me know which films, basically down below in the comments. And that being said, if nothing else, stay focused. Peace.